Get y'all snacky. Everything y'all need. Without further ado, let's get to it.
(1998). Four Microsoft engineers create a prototype video game console in the hopes of competing against Sony's next video game machine, the PlayStation 2. March 1st, 1999. Sony officially announces the PlayStation 2 following the amazing success of the original PlayStation.
Bro, my niggas, if y'all ain't know, bro, I don't know if y'all niggas knew or if y'all been like OGs and some shit, but nigga, my ass, nigga, I had the goddamn, hold on, I had the goddamn PS1, bro. I know shit, bro. I was born in 2007, but I play like all the old games and shit, y'all. Nigga, I had goddamn. I had the goddamn, what the fuck? PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5. And I also had the Xbox original, Xbox 360, Xbox One. I ain't had the Xbox Series though. And I had the Nintendo DS, I think it was a 2DS, and I had a 3DS. Bro, I almost had every fucking game, and I had a Wii. Bro, I had every fucking game. That's why I said, bro. I ain't gonna say I wasn't struggling to get some shit. I just didn't get it on time. But I had got everything I wanted. Yeah, I ain't about to sit up here in front like I ain't got everything I wanted, nigga. I did at the end of the day. But if we do it like PS3 versus Xbox 360, I'm gonna say Xbox 360. Even though I'm PlayStation now, because like at the time Xbox 360 was just ahead of its time, bro. You had Rage and Blast 2 on that bitch. You had Budokai 3, the HD collection shit. You had the goddamn which I know about, Midnight Club Los Angeles, GTA 5 on there. What else? Which I know about Ghost Recon, that one Ghost Truck. What's that Ghost Recon game? But yeah, anyway, Ghost Recon and Payday 2 when it was on the Xbox 360, and one more. 2K13 and 2K14 on the Xbox 360. Real niggas know about that. But let's get back to the video.
March 10th, 2000. Microsoft officially announces their first video game console. It is known simply as Xbox.
So, for the first time, let me now unveil Xbox.
Dog, that controller bring back memories, bro.
2004. Sony sits comfortably ahead of Microsoft and Nintendo, with roughly 71 million units sold. Microsoft, at the end of 2004, had sold 19.9 million Xboxes. May 12th, 2005. Microsoft reveals the Xbox 360 on MTV. Days later, on the 16th, Sony reveals the PlayStation 3 at E3. The modern video game battle of the 21st century begins.
I don't know. I just liked the damn Xbox 360 more, bro. Like, I had the PS3 too, but it's like, I liked it the damn... Well, I didn't have the PS3. It was like, I was playing on my brother's shit, but it's kind of like, it was mine too. But the Xbox 360, nigga, it's just like, everything about it was just good. Black Ops 2, Call of Duty Ghosts, Black Ops 1. Like, everything on there was just good, bro. My opinion, Xbox 360 won, bro.
Now the time has come. You've waited long enough. I give you the future of gaming.
The Xbox 360 announcement was nothing short of a spectacle. With viral marketing campaigns and an over-the-top reveal on MTV with Elijah Wood hosting the event, and live performances by The Killers, the system was touted for its online capabilities and HD graphics. Microsoft's online ecosystem, Xbox Live, was going to the next level. With a marketplace where users can download games, demos, music, television, and movies, users can now play games online with friends, send messages, earn a reputation score, and system-wide achievements. Shortly after the reveal, Microsoft spent their entire E3 conference showcasing their new Sony killer, by showing off the system's user interface, controller, and games. Call of Duty 2, FIFA 06, Project Gotham Racing 3, Cameo, and Gears of War were among the titles shown. With little emphasis on the technical specifications and full focus on the system's entertainment capabilities, Microsoft wanted the world to know Xbox 360 was here to play.
That future starts right here, right now.
I ain't had that one. Alice had that one. I had the goddamn, what was that, Xbox 360 Slim? What that was called? Like Xbox 360 Slim Elite or some shit, I think. It was one of them motherfuckers, like that slim motherfucker, but looked at advanced as hell. It looked at like, my Xbox was like the Xbox One, like the first Xbox One, it looked at like that. I had that one.
This is my Xbox 360. It's here, and it's on.
And nigga, what y'all niggas know about that ring of death, bro? Y'all ever had got the ring of death on y'all shit, and then like when you drop the game, like the damn shit turn red? Bro, that shit just scared the fuck out of me, y'all. PS3.
The PlayStation 3 reveal was a completely different story, as Sony spent a vast majority of their E3 conference detailing the technical significance of the platform, detailing the system's new cell processor, reality synthesizer, and support for Blu-ray discs. Various tech demos were shown to demonstrate the power of the system, with many developers and industry figures discussing the overall proposal of what the system could do. The system was touted for having 6 USB ports, 2 HDMI ports, 3 Ethernet ports, slot readers for compact flash,
God
SD.
damn! I don't remember my shit having all that. Nah, I think we had like a later version. I don't know, remember all this shit, god damn.
Memory stick, and full backwards compatibility with PlayStation and PlayStation 2 games. Sony proceeded to spend a smaller portion of the show on actual titles. Games like Resistance, Motorstorm, Killzone, Warhawk, Heavenly Sword, and Gran Turismo were showcased. No
And
user
famous.
interface was shown, and the promise of online connectivity was seldom. The show ended with a look at the console's design, and the E3 booth later showed the console's radically redesigned Boomerang controller. It was clear, Sony's message was different. It wasn't about fun, it was about power.
And fucking Dead to Rights Retribution. Niggas on, that's what I was playing on there too. That fucking game was called. Was it? Yeah, I think it was. Red Dead Retribution. I never played Halo in my life though. I ain't never played that fucking game.
We're right here in an impromptu Best Buy shop, and all the new Xbox 360s are being unloaded.
The road to launch was long and arduous for both manufacturers. Microsoft was eyeing a holiday 2005 window, and Sony spring 2006. Microsoft was able to hit their goal, launching the Xbox 360 November 22, 2005 in North America. Shortly after, in December, the system hit Europe and Japan. Xbox 360 was offered in 2 different SKUs. The core system offered the console, a wired controller, and standard AV cables for $299. The main Xbox 360 bundle came with the system, a 20GB detachable hard drive, wireless controller, headset, and component cables for HD. The bundle retailed for $399. Games like Call of Duty 2, Need for Speed Most Wanted, Perfect Dark Zero, and Cameo Elements of Power were available at launch. There were 18 games total to choose from day one. Microsoft's only enemy on November, and the year to come, was themselves. Sony and Nintendo were far from ready. Despite being the only player on the market, Microsoft immediately struggled with supply. Maximum production was not enough to sufficiently supply demand, and most units were entirely sold through in the US and Canada. By the end of 2005, roughly 900,000 units were sold in North America, 500,000 in Europe, and 100,000 in Japan. Demand at the time was so high that 40,000 units reappeared on eBay within a month of launch. Nearly 10% of the system's first 400,000 units shipped to the US. Demand was seemingly high everywhere, but Japan, a problematic market for Microsoft. Whether it was nationalistic preference, the region's desire to play handhelds, or the 360's lack of Eastern titles at launch, Japan would continue to be the land of low sales figures for Microsoft. Though getting a foothold in Japan was the least of the company's worries with the Xbox 360. As early reports after launch indicated, many consumers were experiencing technical problems. Various concerns such as the system scratching discs or displaying a general hardware malfunction were
That motherfucker right there used to scare the shit out of me, bro. When you seen that, that was like the end of the world, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Early reports after launch indicated many
That right
consumers
there. You
were
see that, your
experiencing
shit
technical
cooked.
problems. Various concerns such as the system scratching discs or displaying a general hardware malfunction were cropping up too frequently for it to be a coincidence. Microsoft at the time reaffirmed the public that hardware failure for the platform was in line with most consumer electronics, typically 3 to 5%. It wouldn't be until 2007 that Microsoft officially acknowledges the problems. Despite these concerns, Microsoft had an entire year lead on Sony, something that played a very large role in the long term for
Bro,
not
rip
only
this tag
consumer
out, bro.
preference, but developer preference as well. And while the first year of games were mostly PC ports and HD upgrades, there was always something to play. By year's end, Dead Rising, Saints Row, Viva Pinata, and Gears of War released, all of which were well received. And the aggressive tone from their 2005 reveal was still as prevalent as ever. Microsoft did not forget Sony was launching. At E3 2006, Peter Moore made the deliberate announcement of Grand Theft Auto releasing on Xbox 360 the same day as the PS3 version, and that the 360 version would feature exclusive episodic content on Xbox Live.
Yep.
Is my new edition.
I ain't, bro. That's one GTA I ain't played for real. The only part, the furthest I got on GTA 4 was the part where you first started taking that one girl out the like out on a date and shit. What was her name? That was the furthest I got in that damn game. That's it. Like the first date that you had took her on. That was the last mission I ever played with her. I gotta start playing it again.
Microsoft and Rockstar Games are bringing Grand Theft Auto 4, the next generation of the wildly successful Grand Theft Auto series, to Xbox 360 on October the 16th, 2007 in North America, and October the 19th, 2007 in Europe. The first date it's available.
That, coupled with various other titles Microsoft had planned for 2007, showed that they meant business. Microsoft also had a direct answer to Blu-ray, offering a $200 accessory that allowed the 360 to play HD DVDs, a completely separate format from Blu-ray that Microsoft had backed, directly competing against Sony's decision to go with Blu-ray in the optical format war. By the time PlayStation 3 was ready to launch, Microsoft had sold roughly 6.5 million Xbox 360s.
Damn. Damn. That's 6.5 million people, bro. Nigga, on the PS3, I was just watching movies and shit. I think that's what I was doing. That shit was
Before
like a DVD
launch, the
player.
PlayStation 3 and Sony's message was categorically a disaster to say the least. Sony had strong competition, yet felt no threat was on the horizon. It was as if the PlayStation 3 was the only platform coming, and it was the only platform anyone cared about, and this was far from the truth. Harsh realities really set in when the public got a closer look into what the PS3 was going to be at their 2006 E3 press conference, a show that the internet will likely never forget, as it was and has been mocked for years.
It's Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer. Remember that one?
Genji 2 is an action game which is based on Japanese history. So here's this giant enemy crab.
It's the feel of the controller in my hands. I like the hard plastic and the little knobby bits.
The public got a look at the PlayStation Store that promised online functionality, some PSP connectivity, and plenty of footage of games to come. Some crowd-pleasing moments like Metal Gear Solid 4 and Final Fantasy XIII were quickly forgotten at the end of the show when Kaz Hirai famously announced the PlayStation 3's overwhelmingly high price.
Shit. Wait, what the fuck? Bro, the PS3 only has 60 fucking gigabytes, bro. Or am I tripping? $600 for a fucking 60 gigabyte game? Bro, I remember when I remember my mama bought me this shit. Bought us this shit. Nigga, that shit did not cost no goddamn $600, bro. That shit cost like goddamn 300. Bro, cause back then I don't think you was downloading games, or was you? I think niggas was like buying a disc then. And like with the disc, you ain't had to like download it. All you had to do was put that bitch in, you playing it.
The 20 gigabyte PlayStation 3 will retail for $499 US dollars and 549 Canadian dollars. And the 60 gigabyte PlayStation 3 for $599 US dollars, $659 Canadian.
Price was high, and yet Sony was going to lose money. A lot of it. The controller reverted back to the original design without rumble functionality. The original amount of USB, HDMI, and Ethernet ports were scaled down. The system was going to be supplied with standard video cables, but that wasn't enough. The PS3 and the components inside were too much to manufacture. And while it was common practice for Sony to take a loss on hardware in order to sell software, each PS3 sold would mean a $200 loss. Over $800 to manufacture one system. Though at the time, PS3 was technically a bargain, as the system was also a Blu-ray player, and dedicated Blu-ray players were going for well over $1,000. All hurdles aside, PlayStation 3 launched November 11, 2006 in Japan. Shortly after, the system hit North America on November 17th, with a European launch being delayed to 2007. There was two models to choose from, 60GB and 20GB. The 20GB lacked Wi-Fi, card readers, and a chrome trim. The initial low supply of units caused a number of violent incidents, with customers being robbed, there were riots, and even one man getting shot.
Damn.
It was a very lucrative option for most.
I'm surprised the PS5 ain't do this, bro. That's what I'm saying. Niggas was ordering it more. Like they're like actually going up there. I remember, bro, I was trying to see what that bitch should stock when it first came out, but that shit said sold out. I'm like, damn, I ain't gonna never get that shit. Nigga, I had got my shit on 2023 Christmas.
With systems typically selling for well over $1,000. However, enthusiasm was low, and with the PS3 out in consumers' hands, the growing pains started to show. Online capabilities were at the absolute bare minimum. The PlayStation Store was just a fancy web browser, and there was no cross-game chat. And games had visibly worse performance compared to—
What y'all know about this fucking game right here? The demo. Only I played the demo of this game. What y'all know about the demo of this fucking game, bro? This was the Call of Duty I was playing, bro. I sound like an old head, but I don't give a fuck. What y'all know about this shit right here? This the Call of Duty I used to be playing, bro. My brother had got the new game system. This is what I used to be on. This.
the 360 versions. Sony's messaging wasn't entirely helpful either, with most ads creating confusion rather than actual desire.
Wait a minute now.
PS3 just had a poor reputation, and was the laughingstock of the internet. You couldn't go to any gaming-related website without finding a PS3 meme or console debates. And it wasn't just gamers. Developers were very vocal about the platform and how difficult it was to develop for. A contributing factor for why the system frequently saw games with lesser performance than the 360 versions, despite the PS3's untapped potential. PS3 did have a few breaks though. Online play was free, the system was future-proofed with Blu-ray and a standard hard disk drive, and you could install Linux on it. And it offered a great value when comparing its hardware features to 360, where a lot of the features were sold separately.
So you could have turned that bitch to a PC, bro? I ain't gonna lie, y'all. When I start getting this money on, bro, they can be ready for some Xbox 360 streams and shit. I'm gonna play Xbox 360 games. I'm gonna see about the PS3 though. I'm gonna get one of them damn jailbroken Xboxes. We're gonna be on that shit. Disaster. Let's try.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
Bro,
You're 7 months into the sales cycle for PS3, and you're cutting prices. Why?
Well, as you pointed out, it's a two-pronged announcement. The introduction of the 80-gig machine with our million-unit selling MotorStorm game packed in at $5.99, and then consequently reducing the price on the existing 60-gigabyte model to $4.99.
Within the first year, Sony got the message. PS3 needed work. Rumble was added back to the controller, and firmware updates added requested features to the OS. Hopeful game announcements like Little Big Planet and PlayStation Home were made. The system was even price dropped to as low as $3.99, with the announcement of the 40GB model. But this came at the expense of PS2 backwards compatibility, a feature that Sony stayed keen on removing in order to bring down manufacturing costs. By the end of the PS3's first full year, the system saw Resistance Fall of Man, Warhawk, Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and Ratchet & Clank Future Tools of Destruction as the standout titles to play. The future was bright, but there was still a long way to go. By June 30th, 2007, PlayStation 3 sales reached 4.3 million. Microsoft at the same time was at 8.3 million.
For Xbox 360,
we set up these two Xboxes here, the one in home theater. The first day, the DVD Madden we had on display was totally destroyed because of the inside. It totally scratched the whole DVD. So, first time we put it up there, it froze. We're like, okay, it was just fluke, maybe something happened. It froze again. So, guys, honestly.
Internally, Microsoft's Peter Moore has now fully grasped the gravity of the situation on their hands. The defect rate for Xbox 360 was far too high to ignore, and action had to be taken. Moore worked out with the finance team just how much it was going to cost to make things right. He recalled, "We knew we had a problem. I remember going to Robbie Bach, my boss, and saying, I think we could have $1 billion problem here." Moore had a meeting with then Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer to tell him what had to be done. I am trembling sat in front of Steve, who I love to death, but he can be an intimidating human being. Steve said, "Okay, talk me through this." I said, "If we don't do this, this brand is dead. This is a Tylenol moment." Steve looked at me and said, "What have we got to do?" I said, "We've got to take them all back, and we've got to do this in a first-class way. What's it going to cost?" I remember taking a deep breath, looking at Robbie, and saying, "We think it's 1.15 billion, Steve." He said, "Do it." There was no hesitation. July 5th, 2007, Microsoft officially announces a 3-year warranty extension to all Xbox 360 consoles from their original purchase date. New internal chipsets were on the horizon to hopefully help the console's failure rate, but for now, every consumer was covered for free Xbox repairs.
Boy, that damn ring of death was like a death warning, nigga. Like, death coming soon. That's how that motherfucker was. Every time you to see that ring of death shit on the console, or the damn ring of death on the disc, boy, you could never play that game again, bro. The only game I had got to work with that damn ring of death on it was Madden 16. No, Madden 15. Madden 15, that was the only game I got to work, bro, with that shit.
Should their machines fail under the 3 Red Lights moniker. Amidst all the controversy and debate of PS3 and Xbox 360, the Nintendo Wii saw tremendous demand, and by September 2007, the Wii officially surpasses Xbox 360 in total worldwide sales. This would be the beginning of Nintendo's mostly irrelevant dominance as gamers continued to scrutinize PS.
Y'all niggas ain't never played that damn sports resorts, and y'all tried to hit a nigga with an uppercut, and y'all fucking lost a remote. That bitch hit the damn window. Nigga, I did that bitch. Wham! The motherfucking remote flew out my damn head, hit the window, bro. Y'all niggas was never taking that shit that serious. I was in that bitch. Even that basketball game.
PS3 and 360, while largely ignoring Nintendo due to Wii's radically different approach to games. But there was something very important in September.
The hell? Halo. I ain't never played Halo in my life.
Halo 3, one of Xbox 360's most important titles, coveted.
Should I get like a regular Xbox again, or should I get an Xbox One, like instead of getting the Xbox 360, or should I just get the Xbox 360? Because I think they say you could get Black Ops 2 on the Xbox 360. I'm on the Xbox One still, so I might just get like a regular Xbox One.
And revered worldwide. The game was a huge success and is still fondly remembered by all to this day. By the end of 2007, Xbox gamers were enjoying not only Halo 3, but fantastic titles like Mass Effect, BioShock, Lost Planet, and Crackdown, all of which were only available on 360 at that time. Though one shocking announcement to all was that Bungie would be leaving parent company Microsoft and going fully independent in the future. Peter Moore would also be leaving the company as well. As 2007 came to a close, one thing was for certain. Sony had a lot riding on 2008, while many thought Microsoft didn't have enough after Halo 3.
That's my controller, cuz.
Toshiba has announced it will no longer develop, make, or market HD DVD players and recorders. That effectively means an end to the high-definition format war, with Blu-ray emerging as the clear winner.
2008 started off with a small, yet important victory for Sony as Toshiba announces they've essentially conceded in the format war, ceasing production of HD DVD. This wasn't necessarily a loss to Microsoft, given the HD DVD platform was purely an add-on device to the Xbox 360. But Sony, however, had a lot riding on it in that they had a hand in the creation and development of Blu-ray, with every PlayStation 3 shipping with a Blu-ray drive for games and movie playback. And while the benefits weren't immediately obvious in 2008, the victory meant a long-term win for Sony with residual revenue. But more so for the PS3, Blu-rays could hold more storage than a traditional DVD, and thus more content could fit into one disc. This was just the beginning of what would be a solid year for Sony in slowly molding the PS3 into a product people wanted to buy and use. The platform holder started to deliver major firmware updates, giving highly requested features to users. In-game cross-media bar finally allowed PS3 users to access their messages and friends list while they were playing a game. Sony adopted Microsoft's achievement-based system with the inclusion of trophies, and they relaunched the PlayStation Store with a much cleaner and user-friendly interface. Sony's marketing also improved noticeably with commercials that seemed to actually make sense. And if that wasn't enough, June 12th delivered one of the PS3's most important exclusives.
And what y'all know about the Connect on the Xbox 360 too? Like Dance Central, I ain't gonna lie, I'ma stand on this shit. Dance Central is better than Just Dance, my nigga. Is that what the game called? Dance Central. Do y'all homework on Dance Central, my nigga. I don't know how that game failed.
Metal Gear Solid 4 saw critical acclaim, and Sony saw a pretty substantial increase in PS3 sales across all markets, which the company desperately needed, because by June 23rd, it was revealed in financial reports that pricing PS3 below manufacturing costs made the company lose over $3 billion. Sony quoted to investors, "The large-scale investments required during the development and introductory period of a new gaming platform may not be fully recovered." Basically, it was going to take a lot to ever see a return on PlayStation 3. And in July, E3 2008 is where the company held a show heavily focused on promising exclusives. Infamous, Killzone 2, MAG, God of War 3, and more were shown off, all the while still juggling PSP and PS2 into the mix as well. Though one of the biggest surprises at E3 was at Microsoft's show.
One more big announcement to share. Take a look at this movie.
Them damn graphics was ahead of its time, bro. Especially,
What was once
nigga Raging Blast 2, bro. That shit was ahead of its time, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I know it's a crazy take, but I'd rather play Raging Blast 2 than Xenoverse 2. Cause with Xenoverse 2, I ain't like it. Like, I like the mechanics. Like it got the best DLC packs of all time, no cap. But like mechanics, I like all that damn. I like combat and shit. I like all that fighting. I don't like all that damn. Then do a combat. I mean, I spam it. Then all that teleporting and shit. I don't like all that shit. I like straight combat. That's why I like Sparking Zero.
Considered a PlayStation exclusive is now no more. The gaming landscape was in utter shock that a mainline Final Fantasy would now release day and date on Xbox alongside PlayStation. For many, this was seen as a nail in the coffin for Sony. If PS3 can't keep games like Final Fantasy or Devil May Cry exclusive, why would anybody need to buy one? Little did anyone know that this would pretty much be the norm moving forward, as third-party exclusives slowly but surely became a thing of the past. By year's end, Resistance 2 and Little Big Planet released, and more stellar titles that many enjoyed. PlayStation Home also saw an open beta release, which looked promising on the surface. 2008 seemed to be a mostly good year to the PS3, and yet the sales weren't enough. The grass was indeed much greener on the other side. Microsoft saw great numbers all throughout the year. It was either good hardware sales, a good attach rate, or an increase in Xbox Live subscriptions. Most major third-party releases were playing better on 360 and selling better too. Microsoft had the distinct advantage in just having an all-around better platform when factoring everything in. A gold subscription was keeping gamers grouped together, and Xbox Live was simply a more robust place to play games anyway, with cross-game chat and a native party system. When a major blockbuster release like Grand Theft Auto 4 or Fallout 3 would hit, 360 was the place to play it for many. And it wasn't just the third-party preference, as 2008 also saw Ninja Gaiden 2, Fable 2, and Gears of War 2. Xbox Live Arcade also continued to be a preferential storefront for many smaller independent developers, with games like Braid and Castle Crashers releasing. And while Sony is releasing features that play catch-up, Microsoft is completely revamping the UI with the new Xbox Experience, which came out later in the year. A completely new interface that presented the menus and games in a more modern fashion, with an emphasis on tiles and imagery. And Microsoft's new Me-like avatars added a little flavor to user profiles. All in all, Microsoft had a great 2008, and while Sony made good strides in rebuilding the PS3 image, it wasn't going to catch Xbox anytime soon. By year's end, 360 sold 28 million units worldwide. PS3 was in the neighborhood of 21 million. Down, but not out.
That shit was just the shit, bro. The Xbox 360. The PS5, I feel like the PS5 like is a failed console, bro. Cause like, that's how you know the fucking console is a failed console is when niggas still got the PS4 and niggas still don't say nothing. They don't say nothing. They be like, oh shit, it don't matter, nigga. They don't matter anyway. They the same thing. That's how you know that shit's a fucking problem. Cause like, nigga, you supposed to be clowning a nigga. Like, oh, you still got a PS4, nigga. You nigga, it don't even matter if you still have a PS4, bro. Cause like the same shit you run on a PS4, the same shit I run on the PS5. Like literally, bro. You go put a fucking PS5 next to a PS4 Pro. The only difference is the PS5 don't make that loud ass fan noise. Bro, if you play Red Dead on the PS4 Pro, then I play it on the PS5, I got both consoles, my nigga. I just gotta get another PS5 cause something happened to the other one. But the fucking if you put them both like you put like one TV right here, one TV right there, and like each console hooked up to one, you gonna see. I'm telling you, it's looked the exact same. The only difference is like one make all that loud ass fan noise. Like that shit looks exactly the same. That PS5 is a failed console, bro. But hopefully GTA 6 change it and make it look like a damn movie. But so far, when we seen from the trailer, it looked like a movie. But I heard they said something about it's only gonna run on 30 FPS.
2009 was the year both companies started to really prepare for their future, as their machines get to a comfortably low price point for many potential customers to now buy in. Sony opened the year with Killzone 2 and Demon's Souls, and much to everyone's surprise, Killzone 2 actually lived up to most of its high expectations. Demon's Souls was also an unexpected surprise to many as well. And as the year progressed, games like Infamous and Ratchet & Clank: A Crack in Time also saw great reception. It was finally getting to a point where you could say the PS3 had a great library, and in large part many of those games were only available on PS3. And it's at this point that many developers are not only getting more comfortable developing on PS3, but more smaller studios are working on the platform as well. The PlayStation Store was now seeing a greater influx of games released, either ports from Xbox Live Arcade, or day-and-date releases with the competing storefront. E3, however, was bigger than ever, as this was the year both Sony and Microsoft revealed major expansions to their hardware. Sony officially unveiled PlayStation Move, which at the time were only referred to as PlayStation Motion Controllers. They demonstrated the tech's impressive one-to-one capabilities and made a case for how it could be applied to games for the future. The peripheral was slated to be released the following year.
You can imagine if he could be Ratchet and he could hold Ratchet's weapons in his hand while he plays. He would die for that.
Microsoft revealed Project Natal, a camera sensor with the promise of making you the controller and interacting with your body and voice. There were multiple demos shown for this as well, demonstrating how the device could be used in games and Xbox avatars. Peter Molyneux also showed off what appeared to be a highly advanced AI utilizing the camera as well, though this was met with extreme skepticism and later never came to fruition.
Hi, Milo, how you doing?
Hi, Claire. You okay?
Actually, I'm a bit nervous.
You? Nervous? I don't believe it.
Oh, hell no. I'm glad
Just
I
as
had
E3
this shit.
came and went, fall showed up with more business from Sony. Arguably one of the biggest turning points for PS3 was Gamescom 2009, where much like Sony always does with their hardware, it was time for a revision. The rumored console and price cut were official. A slimmer PlayStation 3 would be hitting the market at a much more affordable $299 price tag. Not only this, but Sony even went as far to rebrand the system in a small but substantial way. The font would revert back to the more traditional PS1 and PS2 style, and Sony would start a very successful ad campaign that caught the attention of many. The timing went well with PS3's biggest 2009 release that was only a few months away.
That's the one I had right there. I'm not gonna lie. If you play Red Dead 1 on the PS3, you a bot, bro. You supposed to play that on the Xbox. I had that on the Xbox. I played that bitch on the PS4 and the PS5.
This was the momentum finally needed for
I ain't
the
never played
PS3 to
Uncharted
gain
like that.
a little bit of traction. Sony rounded out the year with a new price, console, and bright future with more exclusives announced and waiting for 2010. Microsoft spent a good portion of 2009 more in prep mode. Forza 3 and Halo 3 ODST kept fans quenched in the interim, while Microsoft readies a dramatically new approach to games with Project Natal and upcoming exclusives like Halo Reach, Alan Wake, Fable 3, and Crackdown 2. And while 2009 still saw total sales domination from the Wii, that didn't keep most gamers from spending their entire holidays playing Modern Warfare 2. In the end, Sony finally reached a profit after major restructuring and layoffs, and reached 33.5 million PS3 sales. Microsoft would not give updated figures until April 2010 to coincide with the platform reaching 40 million units sold.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your new Xbox 360. Completely redesigned for the future of entertainment.
Sony opened 2010 strong with major releases like MAG, Heavy Rain, God of War, and the announcements of Little Big Planet 2 and Killzone 3. The new marketing campaign featuring fake Sony executive Kevin Butler also seemed to be performing well and was starting to paint PS3 in a positive eye. It was at this point where PS3 not only gained serious momentum in sales, but overall public image of finally being a desirable, affordable, and fun gaming console. Microsoft on the flip side also saw a strong opening with then exclusive Mass Effect 2, which wouldn't make a PS3 debut until the following year. Not all was well with Sony, however. On April 1st, the company removed the Other OS feature from PS3 via a firmware update. The Other OS feature was a way for consumers to install operating systems like Linux onto the PS3, and this was initially advertised as a feature of the PS3. Many fans found this to be very insidious and anti-consumer, and Sony was met with a lawsuit that would later settle in 2017. But a little bit after that, Sony launched PlayStation Plus, a monthly subscription service that would give out free games. At the time, it was met with skepticism, but this was Sony's way of luring users to pay monthly on PS3 for something that actually gives.
I still hate that shit to this day. I hate fucking PS Plus. Like, nigga, we should be able to play the fucking game online for free, my nigga. We paying the Wi-Fi bill and shit. We got Wi-Fi. That's all we need, my nigga. We paying almost $80 for the fucking game. Fuck, we need to pay $10 a month for fucking PS Plus, bro. Hate that shit. That's one thing I agree with Xbox, bro. That Game Pass shit, when that shit used to be that dollar Game Pass glitch for like 6 months, that shit was goated.
Back, instead of Xbox Live, which simply required a fee for online play. This later turned into a big success, as Microsoft later adopted this strategy in 2013, doing games with gold. Come E3 2010, the general air in the video game industry is a bit different. Both Sony and Microsoft are now committed to showing the world more of their chosen motion-controlled peripherals. Sony spent half an hour or so demoing PlayStation Move, which turned out to be slightly awkward and uninteresting. But the rest of the show was filled with pleasant surprises. Kevin Butler stole the show for a bit and made a cheesy speech.
I love drifting a turn at 100 miles an hour in boss battles with a 600-foot-tall Greek god who may or may not be your father. Gaming is having a ridiculously huge TV in a tiny one-room apartment.
Gabe Newell surprised everybody by making an appearance and vowing Portal 2 will be best on PS3.
Now, I've been pretty outspoken in my comments about the current generation of game consoles. And I think that gamers will be delighted with features like Steam Cloud and automatic updates that will make the PlayStation 3 version of Portal 2 the best version on any console.
And Sony went a little over the top announcing Twisted Metal.
Game look familiar. Oh.
Microsoft showed great...
I was scared as fuck at this game, bro. I remember my brother used to play this shit. I couldn't. My ass was scared of this game.
Footage of their upcoming games, but also spent a large portion of their conference demoing the Kinect sensor, which understandably frustrates your typical gamer that would want to watch E3, but pleases investors who want to see potentially high-selling products. Microsoft's Don Matrick closed out the show revealing the Xbox 360S, a slimmer and more efficient Xbox 360 that would be available immediately. And in the following months, both motion peripherals launched and initially sold very well.
I'm trying to look for the one I had, yo. I think it was called like an Xbox One Elite or something.
Except Microsoft did exceptionally well. Just when it seemed like Sony was making decent headway into Xbox 360 sales, Microsoft reinvigorates the platform with a new form factor and family-friendly games that use a new impressive camera sensor. The marketing and games were a complete success, and Kinect became the fastest-selling consumer electronic device. And with holiday releases like Halo Reach, Fable 3, and Call of Duty Black Ops, core Xbox 360 gamers were pleased for the time being. Sony ended the year announcing Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception in December. Sales figures tell an interesting story. PS3 was now around 48 million units worldwide. 360 was at about 51 million. The sales gap Microsoft had was indeed shrinking.
Still had more to PlayStation. Yeah.
Sony's PlayStation Network, and now your credit card info.
What up, good boy?
The online network has
good
been
boy
down since
66
last
IO.
Wednesday. Sony just announced yesterday that
2011 was once again a promising year for Sony to make a move on Microsoft, but a major snag came up. On April 20th, Sony acknowledged that PSN was having issues and that some services were down. Shortly after, the company confirmed that there was an intrusion on the network and that service would continue to stay down for a few days while they investigate what exactly happened. On April 25th, Sony announced that the time needed to fix and rebuild the network would be longer than...
You said PlayStation on top? Yeah, the PlayStation now, but like at this timeline, like PS3 and Xbox 360, I gotta go Xbox 360.
Expected. All the while, many customers were
better,
curious as to what exactly was accessed on the network, with Sony not openly admitting much else besides the third-party intrusion. It only took another day for Sony to confirm suspicions that personal data may have been compromised. The week after, local government agencies in many countries got involved, questioning the severity of the breach with Sony directly. On May 1st, Sony confirmed that there would be a welcome back compensation package to customers as a means of goodwill, though this was still announced rather early as the network still was not ready to be opened again. There was also an additional attack on Sony Online Entertainment, which held back the rest.
I'm still team PlayStation now, but it's like back then, like when the Xbox 360 was out, Xbox 360 was better, but I'm saying the PS5 better than now. I'm team PlayStation
services.
now.
The outage was officially over after 23 days, with PSN slowly returning on May 14th. Sony offered free games and themes back to returning users and a $1 million credit card insurance policy good for 1 year. The company was hit with a lawsuit and fined £250,000 under British law. Sony says the breach cost them $171 million. This didn't just cost money, but public image. What was considered one of the biggest data breaches ever is now hindering the sales momentum the PS3 had going. Meanwhile, Microsoft is seeing incredible sales numbers for Xbox 360 and more specifically its Kinect sensor, which is why a big portion of their E3 show in 2011 was once again heavily focused on Kinect demonstrations. But many gamers and Microsoft's core audience was starting to recognize that most of the company's efforts were now focused on only casual games, and the remaining exclusives were just more Halo, Gears of War, and Forza. This is when a slight shift began with Microsoft's fanbase, in which many felt the company wasn't focusing enough on what gamers really wanted. Despite these concerns or any debates that would happen on the internet, Microsoft pressed forward with Kinect-focused games, while Sony ended up releasing Uncharted 3, Infamous 2, Resistance 3, and a myriad of other exclusives that seemed to be releasing on a bi-weekly basis, whether they were bigger titles or more niche. By November 2011, the sales gap was now less than 2 million units. PS3 was at 56 million, 360 was at 57.6 million.
Feels like each year that bitch just increased. Yeah, Xbox 360
With the
was better,
PSN breach
me.
behind, 2012 was more or less a similar story in that Sony continued a consistent release of exclusive games, and Microsoft insisted on more Kinect. And while Sony did have an agenda as well in pushing PlayStation Move sales and software, it ultimately didn't pay off nearly as well as Kinect did for Microsoft. By March 2012, Sony's Fergal Gara openly admitted that the hardware had not lived up to their expectations. PlayStation Move fell into obscurity at this point and wouldn't be made relevant again until its use in PlayStation VR years later. E3 2012 was the point in which Microsoft began to see serious backlash. They spent a large portion of their E3 conference showing third-party games, Kinect, and TV and video services. Games like Halo and Forza were not cutting it anymore for Microsoft's core audience. Sony's E3 showcased a few exclusives and spent a portion of the show focusing on PlayStation Vita, but they closed strong with extended footage of The Last of Us, a game which by release in 2013 went on to make an incredible impact on the industry standard. And during TGS 2012, Sony announced a further revision of the PlayStation 3 with more gigabytes and a lower price.
Surpasses it. About time.
January 2013
it took them
was
niggas,
the month Sony had.
Bro, it took them niggas like 3 years to catch up with the Xbox, bro. About time they caught up, like damn. But I'm saying like now, like the PS5 and shit is better than it, like Xbox One and shit. Yeah, I'm from Michigan.
Had been working towards for more than 6 years. It was being reported that PS3 shipments have now surpassed 360. And while units shipped did not necessarily mean units sold, this was the point in which Sony was now about to outsell Xbox 360. And once May rolled around, it was reported as official. PS3 lifetime sales passed Xbox 360. Both machines were at 77 million units, with PS3 a few thousand higher. And with that news came the conferences that would bring the announcement of next-generation hardware from both Sony and Microsoft. The world was now learning about PS4 in February and Xbox One in May. With all eyes pointing towards next-gen, PS3 and 360 started to cool down slightly. Microsoft revealed the Xbox 360e at E3, and Sony released The Last of Us in June.
That's the one I had right there. That's the Xbox I had right there.
With all eyes pointing towards next-gen...
That motherfucker right there, bro. That motherfucker.
And PS3 and 360 started to cool down slightly. Microsoft revealed the Xbox 360e at E3.
Yep, that's it.
And Sony released The Last of Us in June. On April 20th, 2016, Microsoft officially ended manufacturing of new Xbox 360s, and Sony slowed...
Then that's when they went, motherfucker 360 went, Microsoft, all that shit,
fully ceased PS3 shipments by territory, with Japan being the last one, ending May 29th, 2017. When everything was all said and done, with updated numbers, PS3 sits at roughly 86.9 million units, while 360 sits at 85.8.
You from Florida? How long I'm be streaming? I'm gonna be streaming like probably like one more hour type shit till it hit 2 hours. I got some cousins live in Florida. Damn, nigga, you in Jacksonville? You in Jacksonville, bro? Is it like a good part in Jacksonville? Cause I hope you went in the hood, bro. You better be careful, bro. I ain't saying it like it ain't good over here either, but it's like shit. You from Jacksonville? Jacksonville, dog. From Jacksonville, dog. Damn! You in the hood. Hey man, just stay out of trouble and try to make it out there, bro. Like stack up your money. Don't do nothing dumb. Make it out that hood, bro. Cause nigga, I seen Jacksonville before. That motherfucker.
It at any price, release it whenever they want, and make an architecture that's so complex that they didn't care about what their software creators would have to deal with. But then slowly realizing that they can't just do whatever they want, that they would surely lose all of their customers to a competitor that they never considered a threat. Carefully spending years of calculated efforts to rebuild the image of the PS3 and release great games that people want to play. Sony did play catch up, and if it weren't for Microsoft, PS3 may not have ended up being so great in the end. Microsoft would not learn from their mistakes until after their next generation hardware, Xbox One. In the end, neither system truly...
The fuck? That shit scared the fuck out of me. Hey, appreciate the follow, my boy.
One. While PS3 overtook 360 by a million consoles, it stands to reason that they both pretty much evened out, and it's that very fact that made the entire life cycle such a close race. PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 were the first truly connected HD social consoles, and with that came the many growing pains that ultimately fell onto consumers, whether it was failing hardware.
You said, can you send me a video? Hey man, you ain't none of them bots is you trying to hack my PC? Cause I had countered like a couple of y'all niggas before.
Or network breaches. But one thing can be said with the utmost confidence. Some of the best games ever made were released on these platforms.
Some motherfucker got killed like 5 hours. Damn! Like near you?
Regardless if it was PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, over 160 million gamers worldwide can agree. The 7th generation was one hell of a ride.
That's what I said. Niggas be getting lit up like a goddamn Christmas tree on a daily, bro. I say like this shit ain't gonna never stop, bro.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan. Thank you so much for watching this documentary.